Cool. Go. Juanita, what's up? How you doing? Got Christina coming in. Perfect.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Oh, I like the background. Yes.
Thanks. It's the Parasite set.
Yes. Oh, it is, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw the movie a couple months ago, dude. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good.
it was solid. But yeah, we'll give a couple minutes for people to come through, and then oh, there we go. And then we'll start in a few minutes. So yeah, thanks everybody for jumping in. I'm super stoked, super juiced for this event. Yeah, it's I was telling everyone beforehand, it's this event's also for everyone attending, but it's also for me because I want to learn more of what moms
The
need
girls
as
are
far
talking
as
about
their health,
mommy
fitness, and wellness and all the good stuff. So
wellness.
here you go. Nice.
Hi, Veronica.
Cool. Yeah. So basically, just want to dive in and learn more of what moms really need as far as health, fitness, and wellness, and really diving into your world. Now being, the health and fitness coach that's now dedicated to helping moms. And yeah, the main reason why I decided to jump on with helping moms is, for me personally, it's moms are the foundation. Like for me, my mom was a single parent, just raising us on our own and everything like that, and just seeing her just being super strong, just doing what she had to do to raise us. And she, like, growing up, like we never felt like we had less than or anything like that. And like whatever we needed, like surf shorts, body boards, this fins, whatever, like she actually got it for us. And she knew how important it was for us as far as finding the joy within just living the island life, right? And then now fast forward with me and Jovi and Elijah, now just seeing we got Shonda coming in. Just seeing Jovi, just like her being that backbone and the strength of our family. And to me personally, from my personal view of growing up, like if mom is good, the family is solid. So here is me giving back and really dedicating myself to nourishing other people's families through helping mothers. So, and then with the panel here, super stoked is I get to learn from my circle of these, powerful women who are, leading by example, and also just caring and spreading the love within their own way, and all the good stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a super solid evening of just nourishment and self-care. And the format's going to be, we're just going to just talk. Everyone's going to, panelists are going to introduce themselves. And then from there, we'll have 3 powerful questions where I'm going to ask, and each panelist is going to answer in their own unique way. And then from there, we'll get into live Q&A. If any of you have any questions, I'll be the moderator, so you can just type in the chat. And then any of the panelists can actually read the questions, and they can raise their hand and we can ask that. And then finally, I didn't announce it, but we're gonna have donations from the panelists. They actually donated some gifts for everyone here. So I'll be announcing some winners for you guys here who are attending this panel. But yeah, that being said, if it's okay with everyone here, I want to just get into it. I want to have the panelists introduce themselves, who they are, where they're from, and just their mission, and how they spread their love and their care within their circle. So first off, I want to just introduce Danny of Original Strength. Come on in. So same things, like who you are, where you're from, and all the good stuff.
Hey guys, nice to meet you all. I'm happy to see so many faces here. My name is Danny. I am the mom of 2 kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so kindergarten starting this year. I live in North Carolina, originally from Chicago though, so I don't necessarily claim North Carolina as my base home. However, I love it here. And I am coming from the movement world. So I own a gym, and I also own a company that helps get people moving better and feeling better with really, really simple basic movements that I hope to talk to you guys a little bit more about as well. And it's something that Serge practices all the time. But I like to teach people how to press reset in their busy lives, which is really what all of us need on a regular basis, just to learn how to be able to press reset and get to, clearing our mind, getting in the right spot, physically, mentally, just feeling good, moving well, and being able to tackle whatever comes at us, because we are so much stronger than most of us give ourselves credit for. So anyways, that's a little bit about me. Was that enough, Serge?
Oh yeah, that was a lot. I mean, if you can go on if you want, dude. It's like that was solid.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you, appreciate you, love you, thank you for being here. Next up we got Stacy. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stacy. I am joining you from Maryland, originally from Michigan. We've been out here in Maryland about 12 years already. It's pretty amazing how time flies. And I am a Montessori trained teacher. So I have about 12 years of Montessori experience. And a number of years ago, I realized that at parent-teacher conferences every year, parents had these hot topics that they were always wanting to talk about. And they usually weren't topics that directly related to school, but they wanted to know like what tips and tricks I had in mind to share with them to try and solve these problems they were having at home. So they would say things like, oh, well, that works at school, but not at home. And so I was like, aha. So I started making a list of all these hot topics and identifying what is that missing piece? What is it that parents need to just kind of flip that switch? And usually it's not a big change. It's not a big shift. It's usually something very small. So for example, like if it's time to leave the house, but you say something like, are you ready to go now? The child is like, no. But if you say something like, it's time to go, put your shoes on, it gives them an exact thing to do. And so just helping parents see the opportunities that exist in their own home and the power that they actually have to change and control situations, even when they feel powerless or as though they can't really invoke change, they can. And so I help them to see that. So I have more than 60 articles that are free and they're just up on my website, and people check them out and they work towards implementing whichever concepts they would like in their home. Most of the concepts have foundations in Montessori. That's my background. And I love like Maria Montessori and like all the work that she did in her life. And so you'll see that kind of infused through the articles, because, like the more respect you can give kids, the more you can make children feel like life is happening with them instead of to them, the better your life will be, the better most situations will be. And so that's basically the work that I do. And I help people implement different concepts at home. I do a lot of one-on-one. I am working on a number of different seminars to help, groups of people with the same kinds of issues. Yeah, and I also have a monthly guide, an activity guide that I launched this month that Serge is helping me with. And it's awesome. We can talk more about it later.
Nice, solid. Thank you as always.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
I love
Thanks.
listening to you talk to. It's just super solid. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, let's go, Sarah.
Hey, hey everyone. My name is Sarah and I live outside Nashville. I have two children. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old. Their due dates are actually 2 days apart. So that was really exciting. And I am a business coach for moms. So when I was pregnant, I was a first grade teacher and I left my teaching job because I wanted to be able to stay home with my babies. And I started my own business, just doing design work. And I had a lot of success with that business. And then I wanted to help other moms do the same, because what I found through my time running my business was that there weren't a lot of resources for moms who were running businesses from homes and also raising families. And I saw that there's this huge disconnect between carrying a huge workload both for their family and also their business. And I don't want any mom, if she chooses to run a business, to feel like she is limited by her family or has to leave her family behind in order to climb that ladder, that she can carry them with them using the different strategies and productivity methods. And so that's what I help moms do. It's we look at her schedules, we look at her goals, and we come up with a plan so that she's able to leave a legacy, both, you know, with her family and also with what her other passions are too.
Nice. Love it. Solid. Next, Drea.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea. I'm from Huntington Beach, California, but originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. I am a postpartum doula, and the way I got into this role is I have a 1-year-old son, but I had a really bad experience during postpartum and ended up developing postpartum depression, which made me realize like how right now in our society, like there's so much emphasis and focus on birth and pregnancy, but the postpartum period is kind of brushed off sometimes. So this is my area of expertise. I just have my 1-year-old, and I do a bunch of like side hustle things. Like I'm doing some social media coaching for doulas, because right now, because of COVID, a lot of doulas have had to pivot into the virtual world. So showing them like how to use social media to get clients and things like that. So I'm super excited to be here with all of you.
Nice. Solid. And actually, fun fact, Andrea was actually one of my first clients when I moved to the Bay Area. So that's how I first met her, was she actually put her trust in me as far as her health and fitness. So it's we always talk about this as far as like the full circle of coming together, as far as like now we're business owners, entrepreneurs online, and now we're feeding each other as far as like tips and advice and actually supporting one another. So it's solid. It's like I love how just the universe works and brings us together and everything. But Bridget.
Hey, hi. My name is Bridget. I am a mom of two. I have a 9-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. And I actually have a kind of an interesting story. I was an older mom. I had my first at 38. And when I turned 40, I was tired. I was all the new mom things, maybe postpartum depression, I don't know, but it was definitely a place in my life where I was kind of looking for something. I didn't know what that was, but I was teaching Pilates and yoga at the Four Seasons. So in that respect, life was pretty good. But I just was really fatigued. I started using some nutrition that my friend recommended to me, and I felt like a million times better. And we know as moms that we need to do what we can to have the energy, to be positive, to be present with our kids. So once I found this line of products and this program, which is totally free, that I'm talking about tonight at 8:30 Pacific Coast time, if anyone wants to tune in. But I just felt like an obligation that I feel so good. I want to help other people feel this good. So for the last 8 years, I've been coaching this program. Actually, Veronica is on my team. She just finished her health coaching certification, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying our program helped her get pregnant, because a lot of times when hormones are out of balance, it can be a gut issue, because 80% of serotonin's in our gut, for instance. So postpartum depression can be related to that, but also just fertility. So hi, Veronica. So I'm so excited to see her, and there's just nothing better than helping people get healthy. And I'm so grateful that just to help people get healthy, but also to help moms have that extra income that sometimes we can't do on our own when we have so many other obligations. So great to see you guys, and thank you for sharing this panel with us, Sergio.
Yes, yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, and backstory too. Yeah, Bridget's actually, I'm a part of her team too with the company Arbonne that we're working with. And at first, I wasn't even looking to get into it, but I found it through my friend Corey, who found me through online. Social media is amazing, dude. I love social media. But yeah, so we connected through social media, and then yeah, basically she was super cool, and I was looking for some greens as far as the greens balance and everything, and I tried it, and eventually I did the program, and I realized like, oh shoot, I'm fairly healthy as far as my choices and stuff, but with the program, it really revved things up. And I was like, oh man, I feel way better. Like for 30 days, I didn't drink any caffeine, any coffee or anything. And I was a coffee fiend, like IV action. Like I really needed coffee. And like now I realized like that nutrition with the re-up and everything like that, with the 30 Days to Healthy Living, I felt super solid, like even better than before. So yeah, it's I stand by just what we're doing with me, Bridget, and Corey, and our team and everything. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone here, panelists, guests, and everything like that. So without further ado, I do have 3 powerful questions. We all came together beforehand, us and the panelists, and we came up with these 3 questions that we think almost all moms, and not only moms, but just parents in general, are feeling as far as wanting to nourish their physical and mental health, but feeling like they're either too busy, feeling that the parent guilt, or even just finding joy back into their life, because then you shift the identity from being, like for me, being Serge to now being daddy, right? And then sometimes we separate the two, not realizing we can actually merge those two and really live an abundant and fruitful life, and we don't have to struggle through parenthood. It's hard, yeah, it's hard, but we don't have to, just, it doesn't have to be a drag, basically. So I'll be asking each question, and then we'll go roundtable style, as far as our panelists giving their own unique tips and advice based on their different experiences and all the good stuff. But yeah, so the first question, so we'll start with Danny. So same style as far as the roundtable is, how do I add self-care into my busy life? It could be mental and physical self-care.
Yeah, so I love talking about self-care, just because I think a lot of times we get this association with self-care being like massages and pedicures and like eating bonbons. I don't know if people do that anymore, but that's what I used to think of as like bonbons in my robe. Like I don't even have a robe, but I think we get this like lavish idea that it has to be this big planned out thing that takes time, that needs to take money, that needs to go somewhere. And the cool thing about taking time for self-care and nourishment is that it can be in a lot of different ways. So whether it is taking a little bit of time to just sit in a room by yourself to like breathe, or and to just really be intentional about your breath. If it's taking time to enjoy your morning coffee outside or in a comfortable chair in a nice mug, or if it's doing a community service project with your family, but doing a community service project that fills you up and gives you joy. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can find ways for self-care, and it doesn't have to be really fancy stuff. So for me personally, that is usually movement. It might be something as simple as going for a walk, or it might be something as simple as like taking 3 minutes for myself to lay down and just breathe and do a few really basic movements and stretches that feel good for my body. And if the kids are running around, like that's fine, but I can like zone in and find that time for myself. So I guess my solution would be to suggest it like starting small and finding things that fill you up. Like doesn't have to be what someone else says looks good for self-care. It's what would make you happy in that moment. Even if it's just a fancy coffee mug that you get to drink your coffee out of that day. Start small. So that's mine.
Nice, solid, love it. Stacy, same question. How do I add self-care into my busy parent life?
To bounce off of exactly what Danny said, it's totally little by little. So I have 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they keep me on my toes. And it's funny because, when we're like out in public, people be like, "Oh my God, your kids are so good." I'm like, no, they're not. Because at home, you know how they are. You know how kids are. It's like when they're in their really comfortable zone in their place, they kind of let loose. And so what we've done in our home is at the beginning of the pandemic, we reviewed our schedule as a family, like what are everyone's responsibilities? Like, what do we all have to do to try and figure out like what times exist for us to be together? And then what times exist for us to be separate? And so, for example, when we were home for, gosh, how many weeks was it? I don't even know, 16 weeks or something. We were literally home and like basically like quarantined in the confines of our condo here. And we're on one floor, like we only have so many rooms. And my husband, he's here and back and he's working in his space. And my daughter, her whole thing was like, you know, she wanted that like rigid schedule. And I'm like that too. She's like the apple that fell directly beneath the tree. So, you know, that's good and bad. And so what we determined was when I would go to put her brother down for a nap, she would have like 30 or 45 minutes to sit and do activities from a certain space. And, you know, the great thing for me was if my son was already asleep, then I could sit in her presence, like in my daughter's presence at the kitchen table, but we wouldn't necessarily speak to each other. We would be in our own zones doing our own thing, even if it was me reading a book and her looking at her own book. But she knew that like that period of time was like kind of sacred, in that it happened every day at the same time. It was very consistent. And so I guess the like misconception about self-care is not only does it not need to be lavish and expensive, but it also doesn't need to be alone, right? So I think a lot of times people think of self-care as like me isolating myself from other people, but really it's ways that you can fill up your own cup, whether it's a coffee cup or not, just like your figurative cup. And so the idea is, what can you do in your life, just little by little, to try and get you what you need, but also give others what they need. So I know, like, for example, my son loves watching trucks, finding trucks. And he oftentimes will ask, Mama, we go on walk, you know, we watch for trucks. And sometimes for me, like, I don't want to go look for trucks every day. Like, I want to be outside. I want the fresh air. So then what I do is I give him a choice. Do you want to go on a scooter ride and look for trucks, or do you want to go on a stroller ride and look for trucks? And so that way it's like something that is, you know, like good for me and good for him. And that, you know, makes it palatable. It makes it better. And then some days we do the walk-up window at Starbucks, which is pretty good too. So just figuring out ways to give your kids choices, but in such a way that like you can fill your cup too. So they get what they want and you get what you want. So you're getting that self-care, whether it's that cup of coffee, custom made the exact way you want it, or it's that breath of fresh air, even if you have another person in your presence. And then the other thing is just like finding balance between work and play. I feel like we're in a space and a time right now where finding that balance is so hard. And like I myself, like I'm still working on that, because if I had my druthers, I just like work all the time because like I love working, you know, I love like the work that I do with parents and families and this other side gig that I have. And so, you know, I do find myself working a lot, but I'm also learning that if I don't give myself an opportunity to not work, then maybe my work isn't as good, you know, or maybe my work could be better if I gave myself a little bit more time to recharge. And so I've taken a little lesson out of Serge's book, and that is take some time on the weekends to just be, you know, yeah, of course, like the dishes will still be dirty in the sink, but take that time during the day, perhaps, to just be out in the world, even if it's just like hanging out at a park and letting the kids run on a field, just be out in nature and experiencing life as best you can with COVID in mind, outside of the confines of your four walls, and not worry so much about like all the mundane things that will most definitely be waiting for you at the end of the day, maybe when things slow down a bit. And then the third thing is like identifying sources of joy. So with things changing so much, like thinking for yourself, what actually brings me joy? Like what makes me feel happy? And once you identify what those things are, you can build on that. And so, you know, I tell all of my parents, your children will be happier if you are happier. And if your children see you being joyful, your children will also become joyful. And the reason why is because you modeling that behavior. They see it, they feel it. And it's kind of the same as like when you feel, you know, like all riled up, your kids probably seem riled up because that's the energy you're giving off, right? And so the more you can give off joyful energy, which isn't easy, it's definitely not easy, but the more you can work towards doing that, the better the situation will probably be. And, you know, I see that even here in my own life. If I'm having a tough day, I have to kind of stop and be like, okay, am I having a tough day because I, Stacy, have not given myself, nourished myself the way that I need? Or am I having a tough day because I'm giving off the wrong vibes and my kids are giving it right back to me, right? And so figuring out, what are those sources of joy and nourishing yourself however you can, in whatever ways you can, so that you have this like balanced home environment, even in these unbalanced times.
Oh, I'm on mute. Nice. No, yeah, that's super solid. Yeah, just especially with the being out and everything. Like we have an actual habit now. It's like even before this, it was at 4:30, and I told the panelists that I'm going to jump on at 5, and then I was like, Elijah, let's go real quick. Let's go to the park, and we live right next door to the park. So he was like, okay, and then I was like, but we only have 15 or 20 minutes. He was like, okay, let's set a timer. So that was his idea. I was like, oh shoot, that's a good idea. Let's set a timer. So then there we went for the walk, and then he ran around, exerted his energy and everything. And then the timer went off, and like he was like, okay, daddy, timer went off. I'm ready. I was like, oh shoot, all right, cool, this works. But it's because of that repetition and everything. And as far as like you said, it doesn't have to be like a whole hour session of going outside, or it doesn't have to be like a whole like 2-hour hike. It could be just getting outside and getting that breath of fresh air, which is super, super solid. But yeah, I love it. What Danny and Stacey was saying is like as starting little and going slow. As far as getting into, if you guys don't mind, we can go into the parent guilt question. As far as parent guilt is real, and how do I overcome this when I decide to really take care of myself? I guess. Oh, Sarah, you can take on this question here as far as the parent guilt and really taking care of yourself, because I feel that also, like just feeling that guiltiness of like, oh, okay, I want to do a bubble bath, but 5 minutes or 2 minutes in, like, oh shoot, Jovi's alone with Elijah. What am I doing? Yeah, can you kind of speak on that as far as a parent guilt?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is something that we all are, extremely well accustomed to. And what I realized that with guilt, it often comes to needing to redefine what we think an amazing mom looks, acts, sounds like. And a lot of the times we are using societal standards, the way that our parents parented us as, either a really great example or a really poor example of who we want to be in this motherhood role. And one of the most beautiful things about motherhood is that it's so multifaceted. There's not one right way to be an amazing mom. Just like our children are so different from, our firstborn, our secondborn, our thirdborn, how many children you have. And we have to be that chameleon almost of fitting their needs. So how I parent my daughter is very different than how I parent my son, and the relationships are very different. And so addressing that guilt issue that sometimes comes up when maybe we feel like we're falling short ultimately comes down to needing to really just redefine what we think a good mom does, and understanding that being a mom is a human role. And if we are experiencing human emotions in our human role, we're doing a good job. And it's just having that natural reflection of how can I show up even better, of being honest and transparent. In our family, we honor radical transparency. So that means that if we flub up as parents, we apologize. And I noticed that the more that we were honest about our human experiences as moms, as dads as well, my children have seen me cry. They've seen me yell, they've seen me apologize. And I'm not saying that you need to go like yell at your kids or anything, but the fact is that they model what they see. And so when you can really sit down and redefine what a good mom looks like according to your standards, according to the role that you want to fulfill, when you think, we're all going to be on our deathbed one day. What do I want my kids to say about me? What are the memories that I want them to have? What do I want to really fulfill in my life? And then you break it apart and think, okay, so what can I do today? What can I do this week? What can I do this month? And then you don't let societal standards depict how good of a mom you should be, or what a good mom really looks like. And, my first year of motherhood, I think everyone kind of just has this like shell shock of, holy shit, no one told me motherhood was going to look anything like this. And you're just kind of like feeling like you're constantly climbing yourself out of a hole that you didn't even know existed in the first place. And so it's coming to terms with the fact, like, I don't want to make a 4-course meal like my mom did. You know, I don't want to chauffeur my kids to every single practice. And so it's delegating those things out and you know, taking things off your plate that you don't want to do so that you can show up as the happiest, healthiest version of yourself. And then your kids will learn how to do that for themselves as well.
Nice. No, yeah, that's super powerful as far as just the delegation, the deletion, and all that stuff. I remember our talk and everything that really stuck with me with your 3Ds and everything. Because then a lot of times, you know, we think we have to add things. We have to do this. We have, like you said, with the societal norms and everything. And then you also mentioned in our talk about the martyrdom, like as far as like, okay, now my mom, I have to give up everything. I can't, you know, pursue my dreams of being a businesswoman or pursue my dreams of doing XYZ. I really have to focus on my family, right? So it's like you said it in our talk, it's not like you're gonna ditch your family. It's like, all right, I'm gonna launch this business and you know, let my kids eat kibbles and bits all day. But it is about like really structuring your day, and how Stacy was saying too, is like really structuring your days, and then also your weeks and your months, and really working backwards. And we're talking beforehand, before we launch, as far as the you know, thinking like 7 generations down. Also, it's like, well, what are your great grandchildren gonna say about you? Like what is the type of ancestor you're gonna be? And you know, we're all gonna be on our deathbed. That's why, you know, this cliche is like, oh, enjoy the present moment and enjoy the time now, because, you know, like Elijah's going to be, this is the oldest and youngest he's going to be. So it's like, I'm going to give him hugs, dude. I'm going to carry him. I'm going to just tell him, you know, give me hugs and kisses all day. Cause, you know, there may or may not be a day where, you know, he doesn't want me to carry him anymore. I don't know. He may be 21 and want me to carry him still, but you know, as far as like him being that child, like there's times where I just stare at him. He's like, what are you looking at? I was like, nothing. Because then like just kind of just enjoying his presence. And also was it yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like, just like every 3 months a cloud comes and I feel just like sad. I just felt like really sad. And then I told him, I was like, hey Elijah, can you come here real quick? Can you give me a hug? He's like, oh, okay. Why? He's like, I just feel funky today. He was like, oh, why? He's like, I just feel sad. He was like, oh, it's okay, daddy. And he gave me a hug. And then I was like, oh, okay, I feel better. And then that's like, just for me, just like opening up and like learning from, you know, just everyone here, just being more, you know, there's a masculine and feminine side towards everything. And for me, really tapping in and really just acknowledging my feelings and not, you know, being afraid to show it. Cause, you know, I don't want Elijah to grow up as a wimp, or, you know, talking about his feelings. It was like, hey man, we're human, dude. So it's like, it's like powerful of like, you know, modeling and, you know, really showing how, because they mimic everything, especially from like, you know, 0 to like 7 or 8. That's when they form their reality, right? As far as like, you know, life, movement, and all this other stuff. So I kind of want to just just plant that seed. And like you guys were saying, it's like, you know, you don't have to be that parent that society tells you to be. You can really choose who and how you want to parent. So, and then for me personally, that's why I said earlier, that's why I wanted to do this panel, is because I'm surrounded by strong women that can teach me that way to parent in that style, right? Instead of that dominant. I mean, there's still that male, like masculine side of me is like, all right, let's go to work, boom, boom, boom. But then now there's that yin and yang, right? You got to yin yang that. But yeah, thanks, dude. This is awesome. I love this. We can go into the parent guilt still with Andrea. So yeah, so same thing. You know, parent guilt is real. What is your advice or tips, or what have you come to realize as far as overcoming this parent guilt?
You know, I just want to like piggyback what Sarah was saying. Like, we have to realize that like being a parent right now is so different than when our parents were parents. Like, we are all at a pandemic for the first time. Like, my parents were not even in a pandemic before. You know, like some of us have little kids that are like doing Zoom classes. Like, nobody gave us instruction books for this. So it's like just to realize like, hey, you know, back to like how can I add self-care? Like, if I want to go outside and drink my coffee, like Danny was saying, you know, or take a breath, like that's okay. Like, we're so hard on ourselves and like ask ourselves like how different would our lives be if we gave ourselves space to not feel guilt anymore, but instead have space for self-care. And I think about like what example is that going to teach my children, you know? It's going to teach them that, hey, I can step up and I can say my yeses strongly. I can say my no's firmly, you know? So it's like having those realizations of like, it's okay to have self-care and not be so hard on ourselves, because we can't serve from an empty cup, you know. And I think about like all the times where like someone was saying earlier to like it's that energy we give off, and like if we are feeling guilty so we don't have time for ourselves, we're going to get so burnt out where next thing you know, you have an argument with your partner, you're yelling at your kids, your house is like so messy that like you don't even want to be inside your house anymore, and you get to that boiling point. It's like what can we do before we get to that step? And the other one I wanted to mention too is like the partner support, like who is your support system? And having that open communication with your partner like makes the biggest difference. And I know like right now, because of pandemic, some of us, we can't get babysitters. Maybe we don't have our like grandparents to help out. But if you have your partner, just say, hey, like I'm feeling burnt out. I really want to have like the last half hour of the day to myself, or work on my projects, work on my tasks, you know, or schedule. Hey, what's your schedule like? This is my schedule. Just so it just like makes the biggest difference. So your partner is on the same page. Because if they don't know what you're going through, and it gets all gonna come boiling back down. So that is pretty much like what I would do to start not feeling so guilty. So thank you.
Nice. No, yeah, I love that. Especially with the open communication. Like I said earlier, like since diving into really focusing on helping moms, like my mode of communication has been like open big time. Like I'm actually asking like Jovi, I used to ask her, you know, how are you doing? How's your day? Blah, blah, blah. But it was like, it was half to make conversation and half that I really cared. Right. But now it's like, hey, how are you doing? Like really tapping in and really communicating with her. Like what does she really need? And then I even told her like now Sundays, like I was like, hey, do you want 3 hours to yourself where you're just like not doing jack shit? And she was like, yes. It's like, okay, let me go take Elijah out to like the park or whatever, or even you know, just go hang out and cruise. And like there's times where like she would chill, and like maybe 2 hours in, we're at the park for a long time. I love the park, but yeah, she's like, hey, I'm bored, can you guys come back? It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. So then there it's like, yeah, it's really having that open communication of you know, just really talking and sitting down, and you know, besides the usual like, oh, so how was your day, how was the weather like, yeah, how about the Yankees type stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's like really or even like having that scheduled time of like really sitting down, like even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes, like just having that conversation with your partner, like kind of seeing what you need, and just that mental check-in, and also spiritual check-in, right? But yeah, I love that. Yeah, everything. I always say this after everyone's answers, but this is awesome, dude. I love it. But yeah, I guess we can round off the last panelist here, Bridget. Same thing with the parent guilt, and then we can circle back to the joy and pleasure. But yeah, what are some of your tips as far as overcoming that parent guilt?
I have a lot, and but I'll try to make it really brief, and I want to incorporate some practical tips. So for me, like just not yell at my kids during the day. I start every day meditating. If you guys haven't read The Miracle Morning, it's amazing. I like asked my husband, can you watch the kids in the morning so I can have like 30 minutes? I use one of these balls that I highly recommend. It's just a really, it's a Pilates ball, and I sit against it too. Good tip if you sit at a desk for your job. I lay on it when I'm working. I wear my sweatpants all the time. You guys were working from home, so we can be comfortable, right? Like that brings me a lot of joy to have comfort in my body. You guys, our body carries so much stress. So at night, I highly recommend getting these miracle balls. They're on Amazon. They're inflatable also. And a lot of us carry tension in our bodies during the day. So like, just, you know, not saying that if you yell at your kids, it's okay. Like, don't feel the guilt for that, but to like kind of proactively feel good during the day and be able to have the patience we need to be able to have the feeling good, positive energy that your kids want. I think that's really helpful. For me, I've told my kids a lot about my job. I am doing it for them. I'm building a business in our company. You can will your business down 7 generations. So I'm literally building an asset for them. I also have earned a few trips for them. So sometimes, and I don't work a lot. So if I say I need 30 minutes for a Zoom and I say, remember, mommy's going for that trip to Atlantis, can you give me 30 minutes? And she understands, like, this is why I'm doing it. I'm also doing it for their future because our company's a B corporation. So that means we have the highest environmental standards in the world. We're trying to redirect people's spending into more earth-friendly things. And I'm really like, that's my passion. I want my kids to help the planet. And so just teaching them that what mommy's doing is helping the planet. And that's why I have to be away from you sometimes, or I have to be working sometimes when you're playing, because yeah, we have to squeeze it all in. Being a mom is the hardest job in the world, and a dad. And so I hope more men take notes on this Sergio giving his wife a few hours, because, you know, I think we are so selfless as women that we just give and give and give. And then we have the guilt when we do have an hour or two to ourselves. Why is that? Men can go on a guy's trip for the whole weekend and come back and take a nap on the couch when they get home. That's happened to me. And I'm like, you have to tell them. It's not like guys, no. I feel like it's like giving them the list of things to do. Sometimes they're not proactive. So you have to be like, okay, this is what you need to do to make me happy. Like, it's not a lot, but just showing them how they can help you be a better mom. We sell skincare, and I have never used to use skincare because I thought it was a luxury. But listen, like, we need a few minutes at night to pamper ourselves, whether that be a bubble bath. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be something that you do for yourself. And yeah, obviously feeding your body and just realizing that we're all human. I think a lot of the other women said that tonight, but as moms, we really do have to, it's almost like you have to proactively get time for yourself, and also spending time with other people, like being social, like doing Zooms. If you don't do social things right now, for me, I find a lot of joy helping my team and being, you know, to me, this is like, this hour right now is my social time. I'm at a bar, but I'm not drinking, and it's positive, but you know, it's filling my cup a lot. So those are my tips.
Nice. No, yeah, I love it. And then especially with I think that's a theme too right now, is kind of just be easy on yourself, structure, communication, and really thinking about the future. I'm saying, like, especially with your company being the will company, as far as like 7 generations down, and then not only, you know, financially, but also like mentally and spiritually, as far as like bringing down that energy, as far as like you know, creating that new path, or even nourishing. I'm very visual, so like nourishing your roots and really having your roots nourish your children's roots. Eventually, if they create seeds and they plant, and then eventually it's going to be nourishing one another. So like right now, I just picture like everyone inputting, like, so Danny's got her roots, Sarah's got her roots, you know, Shauna's got her roots, and we're all rooted together here, and we're all nourishing one another, so that here we're going to be connected, because now we're creating memories here. And we're gonna, you know, I'll give you guys a recording too if you guys want to replay anything. Now we're all connected now. So here, like us talking here and sharing this energy, like Elijah's feeling it right now. Like in the future, like after I get off this call, I already feel hyped. Like I feel super good. I'm gonna give him a hug, and like, you know, just kind of realize, give Jovi a hug, and just like realize, like, yeah, life is awesome, and with structure, communication, and you know, just inspiration, parenting, you know, can be a blessing. It's hard, like I said earlier, but it is truly a blessing, where we don't have to like dread, you know, waking up, and also yelling and stuff. As far as with like yelling with kids, my mom used to, she was a yeller. Long story short, so like for me, like, and I understand why, because single parent, 3 boys running amok, dude, is like, and she didn't have that outlet. And like with local style back in Hawaii, it's either you get lickings or you get yelled at, or both. So it's a good thing we didn't get licking. So, but she used to yell, and like for me on the inside, I would hear my mom's voice, like, oh, I want to yell too. But I remember how I felt being yelled at, like, oh shit, oh damn it, oh man, I don't like being yelled at. So then, I mean, there's times where I raise my voice, but I stop myself, breathe, you know, with Danny, I press reset. I was like, okay, it's okay. I just have this mental image of how I want things to go, and you know, he's a kid. It's gonna happen. So there's like really pausing and stopping. with that moment of, and that's a moment of self-care, is that stopping and that breath. Like, it doesn't have to be, like you said, it's like, I'm angry, I'm going to go, take a bubble bath for 35 minutes. It is truly like taking that time to stop and breathe, and finding like that joy in your life, as far as like transitioning into your self-care. But segue, I love it. It's going to like 1 or 2 minutes each person, getting into finding that fun and that pleasure in your life. As parents, there's times, sometimes we think like, oh, we're parents now, all we gotta do is work and take care of the kids, there's no time for fun. Danny, like 1 or 3 minutes, what advice would you have for a parent saying that I want to have fun and pleasure in my life, but I struggle to find the joy? How can I feel alive again?
Yeah. So I think the simplest answer, and I'll get more into this, but would be to give yourself permission. Because I think a lot of times we do struggle to find joy because we think that we aren't able to play and let loose, and we're worried about what other people will think, or we're not really in the moment. So we're so stuck in whatever happened 30 minutes ago, or what we have to do later, or the dishes, or whatever it is. That we just don't actually enjoy being in the moment itself. So, I think to give yourself permission to be exactly where you are at that time and soak up every single minute of it, but see it through your kids' eyes. So like, don't look at it with your kids' eyes of like, what are they looking at? What are they enjoying about life right now? Because when you look at it through their eyes, it's a whole other perspective. It's a whole other view on life. And it just, there's a reason that we want to be youthful, right? Like we look at kids and we see their energy, and you see, people all the time saying, wow, I wish I had that energy. Well, you do. Honestly, you do. It's a choice of choosing to accept that and to give yourself permission to play and enjoy and enjoy life and do the things you want to do, or to, sit back and pull yourself back with the reins and say, no, that's not for me. I'm too old for that. I'm too broken for that. I'm too tired for that. And, I know, Serge, you kind of know some of the foundation of kind of what we teach is that you are awesomely and wonderfully made, and you're not meant to feel broken and fragile and weak. You are made to be able to fully explore and love and thrive throughout your entire life. And so I think the more opportunity that you give yourself to play, whether that's like just playing with your kids or walking barefoot in the grass, looking at the clouds and like enjoying a sunset, or, playing catch. I mean, it can be the most simple things. And one other, I'm sorry, I might've gone over my time, but one other piece is that, I think when we're looking at things that give us joy and maybe struggling to find something that is giving us joy, maybe we need to look at what we're doing and make sure that we're not just trying to fit into someone else's idea of joy and someone else's time for us. Like one of my friends likes to say that you need to be able to give something a full body yes. And so, if you're going to go do something and you feel like you're just not really into it, like listen to yourself, like take a second, give yourself a minute to breathe and like say, is this what I want to be doing right now? Is this going to make me happy? And if you can give yourself a full body yes, that you feel good about it and you feel like it's a good use of your time, and, just like be there and just let everything else go and just decide to be right there in that moment. So I don't know. That's some of my thoughts.
Nice. No, yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's really just simplicity is power. You know what I'm saying? It's like not really making it so complicated. Like everyone was saying here, I think that's a common theme too. It's like it's all within us right now. You don't have to, spend, $125, or I don't know how much a massage costs. Yeah, it's like 150 on a massage. It's like with OS and pressing reset, we can use a floor and just roll around, and like you said, with using your imagination and seeing the world through your child's eyes, And yeah, that's why I've been with Danny and Tim and Original Strength since Elijah was born, basically. So the stuff they're preaching and stuff that I've seen Elijah go through, it's like, oh man, this is, yeah, we are meant to feel alive and our body's meant to move. And also, like for me personally, as far as movement, it's I do everything because I want to feel capable to move and groove with Elijah, and also to be able to play with him. Yeah, it's like I don't want to be like, oh no, my back hurts, I can't today, type stuff. Yeah, so there it's like just being capable and being able to play with him. That's why I do what I do as far as movement and just mental aspect and everything. But yeah, solid, love it. Sarah, oh sorry, go for it, Danny.
I was gonna say, sorry, I felt like practical advice. I just want to throw like one other thing is like throw on some music that is fun and just like dance with your kids and don't worry, or just move with the music. Like, I feel like that's one of the easiest ways to find joy and just like at your own home where you don't need anything. Sorry, I just want to throw that last thing.
Oh, good. Yeah, and then Sarah, well, yeah, let's go Sarah. Yeah, Sarah's on the right hand side. Sorry, Stacy. Yeah, so like 2 minutes or so as far as like finding joy. Like you have you can go simple, practical, or you can go philosophical. Go for it.
Okay. So I love what Danny was saying, and I agree with all of it. And the other day I was reading this quote, and it's by Richard Nixon, and he said basically, I know, right? But he said, in order to enjoy the highest mountaintops, you would have had to be in the deepest valleys. And so this is, I guess, more of like the philosophical point of view, but I think right now a lot of us are in those deepest valleys, and it can be really hard to feel connected to what that highest mountaintop perspective is going to feel like. And so the act of visualization, in the mornings, of really just spending time, like even if it's just 20% of your morning routine, of connecting with what you want your life to really look like and feel like, even though the possibilities might feel really limited right now, and just knowing that those things are still out there for you to claim and to accomplish. And that was one of the things that I saw with a lot of my clients and myself, as well as, going through this lockdown and pandemic, and, we've had so much chaos in the country and within ourselves as well. It's felt like a lot of the things that we were working towards no longer were possibilities, and now we don't know when those things are going to be possibilities. So just taking that time to really just visualize your most luxurious, rich, beautiful, joyful life and what those intentions are. So, we set these goals for ourselves, but then we don't backtrack to understand what the intentions behind them are. If I want to take my children to Disney World, the reason that I want to take my children to Disney World is, one, it's a magical place that I got to experience when I was younger. And two, it's going to make me feel like I'm a good parent, that I'm giving them something that I know that they're going to be able to look back on. But right now, we know like Disneyland is closed, or, Disney World, you have to wear your masks. It's all limited. So what can you do today with the resources that you have to still create those feelings and those intentions, even though like maybe the big picture isn't available yet? So it's just connecting and knowing that right now maybe we're in the deepest valleys, but we can still bring those intentions and those feelings of what it's going to be like when we're on the highest mountaintop perspective.
Nice, love it. That's solid. Yeah. And then it's really like just doing what you can with the resources you have, right? So that's powerful. Stacy?
Yeah, sure. So what I think about when I think about not having joy is feeling like you're out of control, right? Like you don't have control of a situation. So I feel like those are the times when you really want to sit down and figure out what is actually in my control and what is outside of my control, and then identify how you're going to feel about those things, how you're going to react to those things. And once you can identify that for yourself, I think you'll then be able to figure out, okay, what actually does bring me joy. So I know for myself, I love doing craft projects with my kids and cooking projects with them and taking them outside in nature and letting them explore and observe the things that are happening and make hypotheses about things. And so knowing that those are things that I enjoy, that I can bring to the table, and bringing them into those experiences makes those experiences really meaningful and really memorable. And then, like you were saying, Serge, Elijah decided, oh, we're going to set a timer, because he probably remembered some other time where he was doing some fun activity with you and you had set a timer. And so kids remember funny things, but you know, feeding off of that, you're able to build even more experiences with them that are joyful for you and them.
Nice, love it. Yeah, because that's what actually what we do is like, especially with the screen time, YouTube or whatever, or even just movement, just play time. It's like, all right, dude, we got 10 minutes to play. Set a timer. Let's go. And then I have him set the timer. So like we have an Alexa. It's like, oh, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. It's like, okay, playtime 10 minutes. And once it goes off, it's like, all right, got to go back to work. Yeah, so it's powerful because then I guess like the stuff you do is really planting the seed, and it's sprouting into just behavior and just general goodness, right? Cool. Andreas, same thing. As far as the how can you find joy in your life?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more practical since, you know, I mentioned I had postpartum depression. So I really felt like, oh my God, I want to feel alive again. Like I lived that question. And I would say, like, look into what resources are available. So, for example, we got Sergio here, right? Like, you know, like he has his programs, he has his rooted parent movement, right? That he has his, like, what would it look like if you could invest in a program like that for yourself? Like all of the knowledge, like we feel sometimes so guilty for like investing in things just for ourselves, especially when we're like moms, you know, like we give so much. So sometimes having something like a coach available, because that's what I did. I invested in a life coach and my life completely changed. So it's like, see how you can change it in that way. And also think about like communities, how communities can support you. Like I feel like everybody now, there are so many online communities, it's crazy. And there's like a bunch of free Facebook groups that you can join if you really can't afford it right now to join like a paid program. But it's like having that sense of community can really help bring that joy back into your life, so you can remember like, oh yeah, like I have interests, I have hobbies, there are things that actually bring me joy. Someone said earlier, like, how would you define joy? And to wrap it up, something that I learned from my coach is, so I really love to connect with my inner child and bring back that aspect of myself. So a challenge that you could do that she made me do was like write 10 things that you love to do as a kid, like as silly as it is. Like, you know, I used to love playing Mario Party, for example. You know, I used to like my onesie pajamas. I used to love, you know, drawing and things like that. And challenge yourself, like maybe for a whole week, try it out, like do something different every day and see how happier it is. Like when you're able to give yourself permission. I think Danny said that, give yourself permission to just go out and have fun. So that's like a cool, easy, practical way if you want to practice that.
Nice. No, yeah, and then that's my whole thing with the positive high. Like, you know, feeling your positive high. Like there's something as far as movement and activity that you enjoy back in the day. Like for me, I love basketball. Like I used to walk around with the basketball dribbling, and now that Elijah's older and he can actually has that, you know, fine and gross motor skills to dribble. Like we're practicing dribbling now. It's like, okay, cool. Hey, do it this way. Do it this way. So now I'm remembering that just the sound of the ball dribbling brings back that joy and that feeling of like, oh shoot, I remember just like, I used to spend like 2-3 hours just dribbling in like our driveway. And then now it's like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, he may or may not do that, but I can try to plant that seed. And if he wants to cultivate that seed, all right, cool. And then now we can go to the park and shoot together, which we've done, right? So there it's like tapping back into the joy of your childhood. No, that's solid. I love it. Yeah, Bridget, last but not least, I guess you can go practical or philosophical as always. Kind of just how would someone find joy or feel alive again?
Well, I think I look at it like two ways. Like I love the idea of going back to your past and remembering what brought you joy. Like I love listening to 80s music. I'm old. So like that was my childhood, like Erasure and like stupid, silly, like pop, but it brings me like energy. Like it's a crazy what music can do. Good, someone else likes 80s music. And finding those things like pre-kids that you like to do. Like I think we're so busy as moms that like some of the hobbies we had, or like connecting, I can't remember who's Andrea said it, like connecting with people who have similar interests. Like you had a life before you were a parent, and finding that joy again is going to make you a better parent. Like I love my kids and I am so grateful for them, but you also have to have your own interests. You have to have your own things that feed your soul. And then looking to the future is another big thing. I actually have my vision board here.
Oh,
A lot of it's Hawaii. Sergio knows, you know, we have the Hawaii connection. I have a team in Hawaii now. And I really believe that looking at this vision board every day brings me so much joy. It brings me so much like aloha in my body. I just like, have such a desire to be there, like we should have a vision board party too, and a PJ party, or maybe we can do in our PJs, we'll do our vision boards. But there's something powerful about doing it together and having that common, because like when I first started being an entrepreneur and not teaching yoga and Pilates, but was just working from home by myself, I just thought it was stupid when people are like, what's your vision? I'm like, who talks like that? That's not real. But I honestly think it is real. I honestly think you can create your own reality as entrepreneurs, or just as moms who want to be happier. You have to have a vision of where you want your life to be in 5 years. So I feel like, yeah, you have to like pour energy into that, and just the feeling of that. Like I've been lucky enough to be in Hawaii a lot. So sometimes I just close my eyes, or we're lucky we have a hot tub. So I'll go downstairs, sit in the hot tub, look at the palm trees, and okay, I'm in Hawaii. Because I know when I'm in Hawaii, I have this energy that I don't have. And I think it's Hawaii, it's being on vacation. I don't know what else it is. But it's just, there's something about that, like finding your happy place. I always say at the end of my yoga class during Shavasana, find your happy place. Like where are you, close your eyes, where are you the happiest, channel that. And that, can bring you immediately to a place where you are just at your highest vibration. And then, yeah, life with your kids is so much more fun because you're just coming to the table with that joy. So past and future, I think both can, and present, of course, being super present and like remembering like, oh my God, I have 2 kids, like thinking about before you had kids and how much you wanted those kids too. And just being able to find that joy again too. Sometimes we just, the day-to-day grind, we forget what that's like too. So.
Nice. No, yeah, I love that. You just fully just sparked something. We're gonna have a vision board party / workshop going down pretty soon. So yeah, because I've been wanting to do one for a minute, but it's one of those things where I just forget about it. So yeah, I'm down for that. We'll get that started. But yeah, this is a super solid, dude. I love this. This is awesome. We're going to do more of this for sure. Now we can open up into our Q&As. We can go for about, 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys want to chat into the chat box, ask any questions for the panelists. I know we went through a lot in the past. It's been an hour already, so this is super solid. If you guys have any questions or even like aha moments where you guys want to share, where you just want to kind of just share your experience of the past hour or so, you can leave the floor open to all of you. You can either raise your hand and talk if you're feeling pretty saucy, or you can just type into the chat box. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, give you an opportunity to chime in. In the meantime, I'll play some music. So if no one has any questions or anything, we can get into our special gifts, our prizes and everything. So oh shoot, did Christina left? No. Yeah, so basically we have some donations from our panelists here. So yeah, I guess Danny, if you want to go first. I mean, there was seven of us as far as coming in. Oh yeah, and then we can check out our Facebook Live. Yeah, so Danny, if you want, you can introduce your guests and everything like that, and then I'll just what I can do instead of announcing the winner live, I'll actually just do I'll pick in a hat, and then whoever attended, because we did go a little over, as far as the time. So I can just you announce your prize, your gift, and then from there I'll just pick and I'll announce it tomorrow afternoon or something.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm happy to donate. We've got a couple of books that we're going to send out to the winner that you draw. So we'll send out our Pressing Reset Reloaded book, which is going to teach you all about how you can press reset right at home. And we're also going to send a Pressing Reset for Kids book. So if you have kids, it'll be an opportunity. Well, I'm assuming all of you have kids, but an opportunity for you to teach your kids how to start introducing some just really basic fun movements for not just for health purposes, but just to help get their mind and their body feeling good. And it's just kind of for fun. So anyways, yeah, we'll be shooting out books from Original Strength. It'll be Pressing Reset Reloaded and Original Strength Pressing Reset for Kids. So.
Ooh, I have Pressing Reset Reloaded. That one's super solid, dude. I love it. But no, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so like I said, I'll just pick names out of the hat. Next, Stacy, if you want to announce your gift / donation / prize.
Sure. So earlier I briefly mentioned my monthly activity guide that Serge has teamed up to work with me on, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank you. And what I'm offering is the November guide for free. And so the idea behind the guide is, as I mentioned, I love doing craft projects with my kids and cooking projects. And I'm hearing from a lot of my clients and families that the time after virtual school ends before dinner, and then the time after dinner but before bedtime is like a little bit hairy. So it's either screen time or hell, one of the two. And so these activities are basically to fill that gap, but take the thinking out of it for you as the parent. And so there are a couple cooking projects, a couple craft activities, music and movement games, and then also some social and emotional development activities as well. So it just kind of provides you a little something new every month. So it's like 10 activities every month. I do have a year-long membership that is $120 for this particular program. And so the offer today is the November guide for free.
Nice, love it. Andrea?
Yeah, so I should have mentioned this earlier. I also am an herbalist. So I have like my own tea blend line. It's called Groovy Wildflower. So I mainly make things like for postpartum blends, like sitz baths and like lactation teas. But I do have some just in general for like motherhood or parenthood. So I'm going to donate 2 of my tea blends. One is a calming blend to help you when you're like stressed out or you just feeling anxious. And then the other one is a refresh tea, which has no caffeine in it, but it still has like herbs in there that helps just pick you up and lighten up your mood. So I'm really excited to share those with the winner.
Woohoo, solid, love it. Bridget?
Sorry, I wasn't ready. I'm going to donate either a box of fizz, which we call mommy juice, because it's B6, B12 vitamins. So instead of getting the B12 shot, it gives you more energy. Green tea and guarana. It's actually, you put it in a really big thing of water. So it makes you drink more water, and it's a great alternative to coffee or soda, less acidic. And it's helped my husband get off coffee, which is amazing because he used to be like a 3 to 4 cup a day. Or an alternative if you don't want the fizz sticks, but we're doing a 10-day reset between now and Thanksgiving. I would give you $50 off that reset. So it would be, gosh, around $85, $90 for the 10-day. You get a shake a day, you get a pre and probiotic, and you get the detox tea, which is incredible too, another tea blend. So the detox tea is more of a supportive for your liver and your kidneys as you're taking out allergenic and acidic and inflammatory food. So
ooh, nice, love it. Yeah, so and for me, everyone here, while watching the recorded and live here, I'm going to offer a free 30-minute mindset coaching consultation, that my discovery call. Yeah, so basically it's we're just going to talk about where you are currently and future pace into where you want to be, and then help you guide you towards that future self within your health, fitness, and wellness. Because I truly believe once you transform yourself, you're gonna nourish your roots and you're gonna transform your family. So everyone here, you get a call, you get a call, you get a call. So everyone here gets a call. Other than that, much love. Any last words? if Danny, Sarah, Stacy, Andrea, Bridget, if you guys have any last words you want to share, like 20, 30 seconds or so. If not, I can call it a sesh. We're gonna have more of these. I already know, because this is super solid, dude. I'm feeling like super juiced. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Serge, and thanks everyone that came to hang out.
Yep, this is awesome. Mom power and dad power. Let's.
Nice. Stacy, you good? Any last words? You okay?
Thanks so much for joining us. And
Nice.
thanks for having me.
Of course. Andrea.
Yeah, just thank you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe we'll see you guys all soon again.
Sarah.
Thank you so much, and can't wait to see you guys again.
Vision board pajama party, it's going down, guaranteed. Yeah. But yeah, I'll email everyone here. If you're watching this pre-recorded here live, I'll just email everyone personally. Just I want to say thank you, mahalo, for taking time to not only be with us, but also just invest in yourself as far as nourishing and learning more of how you can nourish your mental and physical health and just being overall. Again, yeah, check out my Facebook or Instagram, follow everyone here. Everyone has the different goodness that they're putting into the universe. And as always, stay rooted, hug your kids, breathe, smile, and yeah, Chihu, love you. Oh, Danny's gonna take a picture. Yes, perfect.
I know, I was like,
Nice. Yeah, other than that, yeah, perfect timing. Love you all, Chihu, and okay, bye now.
bye.
Bye.